Thanks for clicking on my video for our Blizzard bag for March 3rd. Today we're going to learn how to do two very important things. How to find the inverse cosine of a number and inverse sine of a number. Now we've done this before. If you take a look at what we have here on the right hand side, we've done this before where you try to find the cosine of a radian that equals a half. And if you think about that on the unit circle, I know the cosine of pi over 3 is a half. And so is the cosine of 5 pi over 3. And this can be easily done. Now, if I have this situation, the cosine of x is 2/5, I'll have to try and figure out what the inverse cosine of 2/5 is. Now, that's not on the unit circle, and that's what we're going to learn today. Now, if you think about this, right here in this red, I have the graph of cosine, several periods of that. This 2/5 number right here is actually a y value. And you can see in the graph here on the right, I do have that y value right here, 2/5. Now, what we're going to do is actually, you know that there is an infinite amount of answers to this problem, an infinite amount of intersections of those points. Okay? So what we're going to do here is actually first find the point that is right here. Now, I don't want to do that on the graph. If I take the time to graph this every time, that's going to take a really long time. So what I'll do is I'll actually go to my calculator and do the inverse of that number. There we go. So I'll go inverse cosine of 2/5. And on my calculator, if I do Control Enter, I'll get 0.15928. I'll put that in my notes. And I could do that relatively easy in one step. Now, if I think about that number right here, in this yellow part right here, I want to find that number by the intersection. I wonder how that would be related to the inverse cosine of 2/5. Let's go ahead and try that real quick on the calculator on the graph. So here I have a graph of cosine and the 2/5. I'm going to go ahead and find that intersection. And hopefully you notice there that right here we have the exact same number. Now, we don't want to do that by graphing every time. It's much easier to go ahead and do this on the calculator like we've done here. Now, another thing I want you to notice here real quick, you know, there are very many intersections to this problem, that there would also be one that's related to that first one right here, and right here, and right here. And if I go back a period right here, all those yellow dots are related. Now, how are they related? These are different by 2 pi. Okay, and this one would be different by 4 pi. Okay, and this one would be different by 6 pi. And if I was to go backwards to this spot, that would actually be negative 2 pi minus that calculator answer. So for those yellow dots that we're talking about here, there is a formula to find those every time. Okay? So for those yellow ones, which I like to call the calculator answer, okay? So we'll find the calculator answer plus 2 pi n. We'll find all those spots for us. So the way I would say the answer so far for this inverse cosine, it would be 1.1593 plus 2 pi n. I'll explain later what the n means. Right here is n equals 0. Right here is n equals 1. Here's n equals 2. Here's n equals 3. And this one back here is actually n equals negative 1. Now you can see that we haven't talked about all of the intersections so far. Okay, we need to actually find some more. All right, so to find this intersection point, to find that second intersection point would be 2 pi, and since this is a cosine graph, 2 pi minus the calculator answer. Let's go ahead and do that real quick. Minus this first calculator answer that I had. I'll do that. And I'll go ahead and figure that out. And this is my number. I'll put that in my notes here real quick. All right, now we can prove to see if this is actually the case by looking at the graph of cosine, like we did before, and actually finding that second intersection point. So let me do that here for you real quick. All right, there we go. There is that second intersection point, and it's exactly what I've got right here. All right. Now, you might be able to anticipate where we're going with this. 2 pi minus the calculator answer will give us that second green spot there, and the one that corresponds to that is this one, and then this one, and actually go backwards once to get that one, and backwards twice to get that one. Now, to get those second green points there, okay, what I would do is actually take my 2 pi minus the calculator answer plus 2 pi n, and I would have 5.1239 plus 2 pi n. And these two guys are the formulas for the inverse cosine of 2/5. Now that's our video for how you find inverse cosine. I'll make another video and you can watch that to figure out how we do inverse sine. Thanks for listening.